The literary canon, an informal list of the works of literature that are considered to be incredibly important and worthy enough to be studied in classrooms around the world. The English or Western canon consists of immortal works like Beowulf, Macbeth, and Frankenstein. These works were incredibly important and influential in their own way, but they all have something in common too. They all suck. Beowulf literally doesn't even have an author. Is the work even real? Who on earth cares about Will.I.Am Shakespeare? Mary Shelley? More like how the heck did somebody marry Shelley? Oh wait, an adulterer did. But you can't deny that all of these works do have some merit. Beowulf was one of the pioneers of the epic genre and had a few cool fights, ending on a duel versus a dragon. Macbeth actually had an interesting story if you could look past all the old-timey jargon. A tale of a power-hungry king who gets a little too comfortable with murder makes for a pretty good novel. Frankenstein, my personal pick of the bunch, actually induces many emotions, and at the end, you can't help but feel bad for the monster. The only real drawbacks to these books are their super long old words, and the fact that they all start so slow. However, the canon isn't filled with these somewhat admissible novels. In fact, it's quite the contrary. The canon is filled with absolute stinkers. Case in point, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I'm sure lots of you guys grew up enjoying reading, at least as long as it was Big Nate or Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I was one of these people too. If you enjoyed reading, make sure to never read this book. To the Lighthouse is the biggest excuse of a novel I've ever read, and it somehow made the Western canon. Think about it this way. It's like that one zero-skill NPC on the varsity team of a no-cut sport. Literally nothing happens in this book. Nothing. I can summarize the whole thing in 2 sentences. A family goes to their summer home with some friends, and their son wants to go to a lighthouse, his request being denied. Then 10 years pass, World War I happens, and some of the family returns to the lighthouse, while the rest are dead. That's it. Who in their right mind would read that book for fun? The craziest thing is, this snooze fest of a book was voted to be one of the top 15 books of the 20th century. If this thing made the top 15, John Green's The Fault in Our Stars literally would have been number 1. So anyway, reminiscing on all these books got me thinking, what should be in the literary canon? First, I decided we needed to set some requirements for what makes the ShowerThoughts canon. Obviously, the old canon was filled with work by old white guys, because that was just the norm at the time, but I think a more diverse panel of authors deserve a shout for my new canon. I also think the canon needs some books that were extremely influential, and some that were just literary masterpieces. Finally, I wanted the books to all differ from one another, so the canon basically consisted of the best novels of each genre. And now this is the new canon I came up with. And my pick for romance is, drumroll please, 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. Written like a teenager's fanfiction, this absolute banger is about how a college student falls for a rich, attractive guy who just kinda likes her because he's desperate to get laid. This dude is really into BDSM, while the girl just goes along with it, and in the end they break up because the girl finally realizes she isn't actually in love with this kink. Consisting of lots of, intercourse, this book hits different for the average horny teen. Moving on, my pick for fantasy is Icha Icha Paradise by Jiraiya. Written with tons of research. This book is unavailable to purchase, but based on reviews, it's one of the best novels of all time. Some people make up the locations and characters, but this entire novel was created in a made-up world, making it a fantasy juggernaut. The romance in this novel has been said to be so real that Kakashi Hatake and Gaara were attempting to up their Riz games through reading. I can't believe this one didn't make the original canon. Next up for nonfiction, we've got The Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. If you need a philosophical read that teaches about the moral of sharing, The Communist Manifesto is the book for you. If you want to be one of those Indian dads at parties arguing about why capitalism sucks, this book will give you all the know-how. A must-read for sure, and an easy addition to the canon. For a biography, we've actually got an autobiography shout. First Step to Forever by Justin Bieber. JB is one of, if not the best artist of our generation, and it would be a crime to keep his autobiography about his humble roots out of the canon. His journey to stardom was an inspiration to some, while a nightmare to others. People's crushes never looked back at them due to the trance JB put them in. He was just that influential. No matter what, an easy pick. And for mystery, we have Where Is My Dad by Ambry and Taylor Ivy. This wholesome book really cheered me up after my dad's disappearance. I mean, he saw the deck I played in Clash Royale and dipped real quick. This book told me that I was still loved, at least by my clan members, and it's a literary masterpiece that changed my outlook on life. So this one is definitely worthy of a canon spot. And last but not least, for humor, we have The Tate Bible by the Topchi himself, Andrew Tate. This book has top-tier business advice. It basically calls everyone a brokey and is straight-up hate speech 50% of the time. The best part? The author Andrew Tate himself said reading books is for losers on his Twitter account. The irony and clever satire makes this book a necessity to read for all of those who want to achieve enlightenment and top G status. I don't know about you, but it sounds like a fabulous novel to me and easily deserving of the last place in the ShowerThoughts canon. And with that, we're complete. Anyway, that's my personal literary canon. Let me know if you want to add anything in the comments down below, or if there are any Western canon books that you want to stick up for. Thanks for sitting through my first ever video. I'll try to upload often, and my channel is basically going to be heavily based off of Degenerosity. He's one of my favorite creators at the moment, and I'm probably going to stick with his style. So if you've liked this video and you haven't checked him out already, please do so, and peace!